Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. We've got positioning yourself to thrive in retirement. This first part, we're going to introduce the topic, kind of get from 10,000 feet. The next few parts, we're going to break it down step by step. So really important to take these one by one and in order. All right, so first things first, how does planning change as we go through our life? I like to break it down into two simple segments of your life usually. Okay, so the first part of your life is the savings and growth years. We're building our wealth years. And this is when spending less than you make becomes really important. This is why then we also automate our savings with 401ks and things like that. Then from there, making sure that we're as efficient as possible. 30, 40 years of people taking fees out of your portfolio is not a good idea. So you want to look through that 401k. You want to make sure that you get the efficient options in there. Remember those retire at 2030, 2040, 2050s, those typically have the higher amounts of fees in them. It was a brilliant marketing job. What a lot of people should be looking at is more of the broader index funds, using the S&P 500 type funds. Those work great in 401ks, and they usually have the least amount of fees. Then we start transitioning into those distribution years, and this is when we really do have to assess and start changing what we are doing. Spending more than you make is not easy. You don't just retire and flip a switch and feel comfortable spending your savings. But you've got to remember, that's why you saved it. If you don't spend some of it, why do we spend our entire life trying to pinch and save each year? All right. So planning and budgeting liberates. We need to have a grasp on our finances. If we understand that the bills we have to pay every month are paid by Social Security and pension income, then we can start looking at our savings a little differently and start using that for the fun stuff. There's plenty of ways to do that, especially when you understand your money. Then we need to be looking at the efficiency within the portfolio. If we can reduce fees and reduce taxation, we can then reduce the burden on the portfolio to perform and reduce its risk and end up ultimately getting better performance. So efficiency is really important. This is where a good advisor ends up earning their fees, by reducing the taxation in your situation and reducing the excess fees from maybe the higher cost mutual funds and all of those types of things. All right. Now, what does the industry do as you age? Well, it's pretty simple. This is what's taught everywhere. This is what's in all the big companies' computer systems that the employees have to follow. What this chart really does is, on the vertical side, that's your allocation to stocks. That's how much money you should have invested in stocks as a percentage of your total savings. And then down along the bottom is simply your age. Okay. This comes right out of the CFP, Certified Financial Planner book, which is kind of the top of all the little acronyms you can put after your name, all right? So when we look at this, I kind of struggle with it. I know where it comes from. I know why it's there, and I know that they do it all to you. The older you get, the more bonds they put in your portfolio, the more safe investments they put in your portfolio. Okay, the aggressive line is the red line. You've got the green line, which is the age-old bonds in your age in bonds. Actually, which is it? Yes, your age in bonds. But it's been a long time since I've had to reference that. So as you get older, you should have more and more percentage of bonds in your portfolio. I'm not a fan of this. Look, bonds have been terrible for the last couple of decades. And if you don't know that, then look at the performance of your bond portfolios. But that's what that was built for. So that green line is kind of archaic and isn't really used much anymore. And the most recent statistician that have studied the markets and studied human behavior is Fieri's flight path model, which is the blue line. The younger people were having more trouble trusting the market, so they weren't putting as much money in. So they eased them into the stock market and then started pulling back in retirement. This is all hogwash. I got to be honest. I know the math behind this. I know what these statisticians are doing. It has nothing to do with your age. That's the problem I have. They created this magical model person and said everybody is this person, and then they pushed it on us. That's what the entire industry does. That's what they teach. That's the problem I have. Here's the essence of this. When you start hitting your 60s and 70s, in this model, you need your money. So, as you need your money, you need to pull back risk. It's that simple. I overlaid, instead of age, just need for money. Warren Buffett doesn't apply to this, right? He's in his, 80s? He's probably 90 now. He shouldn't have 90% of his money in bonds. He has way more money than he ever knows what to do with. If you don't need your money to fund your retirement, you can have all your money in the stock market if you want to. Okay? We have plenty of clients that don't even spend the income they have coming in. So if they want to have 100% of their money in the stock market, they certainly can. And that's going to be the difference between a fiduciary and a company that's a fiduciary. An individual fiduciary has to do what's right for you. This model means nothing to them. Understanding the math, and if you need your money, pulling back risk makes sense. We understand that. Whereas the company has to run this for all their employees, so they have to have a computer system tell them what to do, and they've unfortunately just overgeneralized everybody into the average person. So understand, if you need your money, you should pull back risk. And the statisticians are very clear. You can see the math on this. 60-40 portfolios, no more than 40% of your money in the stock market. If you're really pulling out a lot of money from your portfolio, if we're talking 3 to 6% withdrawal rates, you've got to have a lot more safe investments, and that becomes incredibly important. So once you start assessing what part of life you're in and how much money you're pulling from your portfolio, you got to start building your portfolio one step at a time. We created this thing called Retirement's Hierarchy of Needs because it puts some priorities on building your retirement plan. So the first part here is the foundation. The foundation is what's going to cover all of your expected base living expenses. Make sure you heard that. Expected base living expenses. Okay, this is important to understand. Social Security, pension income, and if you have to supplement those, then the income annuities. They're the only sources of guaranteed income. Okay, we need to have enough foundation to our retirement to pay our base living expenses. Okay, then the next part, how much cash we should have in the bank. Well, this changes. Through your life, you had this emergency fund in case you got let go, fired, whatever, and you were between jobs so you could pay your bills. Well, it's kind of hard to get fired from retirement. You don't have to worry about the Social Security and pension and income annuities going away on you because you got fired. So we should be able to pay those bills. So what creates a better efficiency in your portfolio is having enough money in cash in your checking and savings account to cover 1 year's worth of expected fun expenses and a little cushion for unexpected expenses like the air conditioner going out. So we need to be reasonable about how much money we're letting sit around in cash, especially as we're going through inflation. So the bank account should have the money you know you need for the upcoming year plus a cushion. That's really what it is. And that way, once a year, we can use our investments to refill it. You're going to have your safe investments and you're going to have your stock market investments, and there has to be separation. There has to be definition of these are the safe investments, these are the stock market investments. When the market's not doing well, I can pull from the safe investments. When the market is doing well, I can use that to fund my retirement. The trick is in designing a portfolio is that you are never pulling from losses ever in retirement. That is the job of anybody developing the investment plan. Period. You have to have a plan for pulling in retirement, and you should never be exposed to pulling from losses. And that's why bonds haven't been doing their job for the last 10, 15, 20 years. They have not been doing their job. They're not a good safe investment until we go back to the double-digit interest rates. There's no reason to go back to bonds. Okay? So you need to have your split between safe investments and market investments, and you need to have a plan to pull when the market's not doing well, okay? And then everything else is the tip of the triangle here, of the pyramid here, because the reality is we've got to take care of our own needs first, and then we can start getting into the speculative or transfer of wealth or the more extravagant things, the extra homes, all the other fun stuff that you can do out there when you have more money than you need for yourself. All right. So the upcoming series, parts of this series, we're going to break down what's important in each section here. We're going to talk about the income section. We're going to talk about the cash, the safe investments, the stock market investing, and even the transfer of wealth. All right. So come back for more, and we'll see you soon. Give us a call if we can help out in any way. Shoot us an email, but like our videos, share our videos, and subscribe to our page if you haven't. Great to see you, and see you next week for the next of this series.